if you are older, because you've lived, you have a head start. We only think that this is for the young people. Not to say you're a joker if you're young, but we have jokers starting to create content that haven't done anything. And then they're telling people how they've done it or how to do something. There is a missing ingredient that nobody talks about when it comes to creating content is bliss. You're younger and you want to be a content creator. You're trying for that to be your job. But if you're a little bit older, that might not be the case. There's no need to transact because you're financially free. So if there's something in you that wants to use this as a form of service, by starting on the same day, you're actually starting ahead because you've lived. Can you grow quick? Yes. Is that the goal? No, because the whole point is to just experience that joy and fulfillment you get from making a video that you know would just make the world a little bit better. The principle I wanted to communicate in this episode is that if you are older, because you've lived, you have a head start, and the opportunity to create content is just wide open. Welcome to the department. This is a special edition episode. I have with me Art Mosqueda. Yeeter. Hey, this is a different, setup. As you can see, we are in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, just hanging out with the fam. Brought Art, so this could be a tax write-off. Doing all these tax episodes, it just gets you thinking.
We actually talked about this in Matt's episode.
Yes, and by the way, if you are in business or we're looking to start a business, be sure to check out previous episodes, in specifically that episode with Matt Bontrager, my CPA, and then also that one with Carter right before it was super fire. But I wanted to, this has kind of been an episode that has been, I guess you could say, burning on me since maybe November. When me and Chalene Johnson did a podcast together, and we were just talking about the opportunity that presents itself for people who are older to start creating content.
Right.
It's funny because I think when we think about content creators, that term, or even we can use the word influencers, which I believe the word influencers has been, replaced with the word content creator.
Because it became negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we only think that this is for the young people. This is only for young people to do. This is only for young audiences to follow. And so I know when I say a content creator, usually people and I like to say 2.0 era of their life, later in their life, 40-year-olds or older, they don't come to mind. Now,
for sure.
For me, I'm 32 years old. I think I'm 32.
Damn. That was just a joke.
Dude, I know it's okay that you're 18. That's not even that far off, actually.
I'm 21.
Okay, 21. And, but yeah, I do think about people who have turned on cameras and started creating content. And so, you might be maybe an empty nester. You might have done something for a very long time. You might be on your way to becoming an empty nester. You might have been married for 30 years. And I just want to talk about the opportunity that presents itself for you to partake in the activity of creating content. I'd love to know, though, if you're listening or watching this, when you hear the word content creator or create content, what comes to mind? If you can comment that.
Or who comes to mind?
Who comes to mind?
Yeah.
What comes to mind? And I would imagine it's just dancing.
Maybe
TikTok.
A bunch of TikTok creators that are semi-big or small or starting out. I think Sam Solik is a major example for dudes my age.
What comes to mind when I say content creator? So
What comes to mind? Content creator. This dude on Instagram, his name is like Gakuyen or something. He's based in Japan. Has a really cool personal brand. He blew up. Started on YouTube years ago, like making tutorials. But now he's mainly on Instagram, still posting on YouTube, but where he grew was on Instagram. And
why do you think about him when I say
because
content
he's
creator?
what pops up on my social media.
All the
time.
Equate content creator for somebody who has probably found an algorithm and they're just showing up consistently.
Yeah, right.
So someone who obviously either makes their living or spends a lot of their time doing it.
Yes.
Okay. That's actually good that you say that because I actually think there's more than that.
Okay.
It's more than just that.
Yes.
Because when's the last time we shot a podcast?
It's been a while.
It's been like 2.5 weeks.
Wait, like us?
No, not just us.
Or just
the last podcast.
Oh yeah, sure.
Maybe maybe 3 weeks. 2 weeks. all that to say, prior to my Instagram getting shut down, I'm a content creator, but the perception of someone who doesn't create content thinks that they spend all their time creating the content. Now, for a guy like him, he might be spending hours and hours and hours trying to create awesome videos.
Yeah. Because that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. Showing up consistently creates that perception, but also like the edit, the type of videos that are putting out.
Yeah, that's such an interesting thought, because I would say not just for him, but that's what it looks like for most when like I see on Instagram or like YouTube. It looks like their life. I would say maybe even people think that's how it is for you.
Yeah. Like when they just creating content is my life.
Like when they first meet you, they think this is all you do. And they're like, how do I do that if this is all Omar does? Like, I have a life. I have things to do. I have kids, like whatever.
No, it's wild. Which is what I want to talk about, this tension right now. And the tension that I think about is the person who is doing it for an exchange. So there are people who put out content with the intention to exchange with the audience. And that exchange might include entertaining them. It literally might be exchanging the viewership, the engagement, the comments. I would say Mr. Beast's point of his making his videos, his intent is to make the best YouTube videos that he can possibly think and dream of, in exchange for getting the most views and being the most subscribed and being the greatest YouTuber. So that intention is helping him create. Okay. Then we have someone like very similar to me and so many, similar to a lot of people that you probably, if you're listening or watching this, you probably think of certain like entrepreneur creators or people that create content to market their businesses, meaning the intent for them to create content is in efforts to create a transaction at some point. Maybe it's not right now, and maybe at some point we're building trust online, giving free value, and then in turn you will then, ask or invite people on a deeper journey with you or what have you, or sell a product or sell a merch or whatever that may be. So there's that exchange. Now, we talk about this guy named Sam Sulek, who's a young fitness dude that blew up. There's also people who are older that have blown up. And I think there is a missing ingredient that nobody talks about when it comes to creating content, which is, I think, almost like a requirement for a fulfilled, like, I guess you could say, like, to experience a fulfillment when you're creating. It shouldn't drain you. It only drains you if you're looking for the transaction.
Right.
And I think the word that I have been coming back to is bliss.
Bliss.
I guess I haven't put it. I should have looked it up on a dictionary. Like, what does bliss actually mean? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what I think it means, which is ignorant in and of itself, is that you're creating from a place without the need to transact. You're creating from a place of like pure, just bliss. Pureness. Yeah. I guess pure bliss, I guess you could say. And so it's like,
well, I mean, what I got was perfect happiness and great joy.
The people that win creating content oftentimes are people who are creating from a place of bliss, a place of joy, a place of fulfillment. So that means whatever happens is the fruit of just creating out of joy. So, I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people who aren't consistent, who have a hard time creating content. And it's because that ingredient is not part of the process of creating. Mm-hmm. And here is why I wanted to talk about why, if you are older, maybe an older millennial or a boomer, or what's after that, Gen X. From this point in the podcast, we'll just say 2.0 era of your life, that people who are turning on cameras or choosing to create content, that they have this opportunity to really impact audiences with their expertise, their knowledge, their mistakes. Mm-hmm. And it's so enlightening. I think that's the thing. It's enlightening because with the youngest generation wanting to be content creators to make a living, we have this older generation or 2.0 era of people that could start really making content that is very easy to make. Yeah. And starting on the same day, mm-hmm. you're actually starting ahead because you've lived. Right. That is the prerequisite to why it probably will work for you if you're older, if you start creating content, is because by you starting, just because you're older is why it'll shake up some things in a good way.
And like people my age are trying to get there.
Yeah. And like maybe right now, if you're younger and you want to be a content creator,
Yeah.
you're trying for that to be your job. Okay. But if you're a little bit older, that might not be the case.
Right.
Because you got your finances taken care of. You've already figured out life in some way, shape, or form. You've experienced life just by living, by breathing, as to why I could see the opportunity to either start podcasts, maybe start sharing videos, short form, and we'll get into all the mediums. Because like when I say content creator, I know also you limit it to, most people limit it to like a video creator, but it's so much more than that. But the principle I wanted to communicate in this episode is that if you are older, because you've lived, you have a head start, and the opportunity to create content is just wide open.
Oh man, you know who came to mind just now? Is the dude in your program that you had a call with on Tuesday that hasn't done anything for 2 years because he's already made his living.
Oh my goodness.
And he's just chilling.
Yes.
And he's come to you to find out what to do.
Yes. So just to give some context, somebody in my coaching community he's living in financial freedom.
Yep.
And he told me the other day on a call, he was like, bro, I have not worked in 2 years.
Insane.
But there's something in me that wants to start helping people.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to figure out what that is. I'm trying to help him see that it's literally, it's whatever you've cracked the code on. And honestly, whatever. The thing is, like, back to the bliss part, there's no need to transact because you're financially free. So if there's something in you that wants to use this as a form of service, which I have found has been very beneficial for my brand, is just using content creation as a form of service can be very beneficial for you. But then you could figure out all the minutia later, all the stuff on how it makes sense and how you actually build an email list and maybe communicate with them. And we'll talk about some examples that come to mind. Mm-hmm. But this is kind of just the preface I wanted to, present as we go into some examples, talk about how you can even get started. But have I hit everything?
Yeah.
That's great. This is a great conversation. What do you think? What do you think about your parents starting to create content?
Actually, that's funny that you asked because my mom, she like had me buy her a phone blog kit because she wants to start making content on makeup because my mom's a makeup artist. She like does that on the side.
Yeah. And she's been doing it on the side for how long? For
maybe, I don't know, a little over 10 years.
Yeah. So look, I mean, not to say you're a joker if you're young, but we have jokers starting to create content.
Right. That haven't done anything. That have no experience.
And then they're telling people how they've done it or how to do something.
Yeah. And dude, imagine me trying to coach entrepreneurs.
I mean, are you looking to take your content more serious this year in your business or your brand? Or maybe you're looking to figure out better ways that you can monetize the content that you're putting out to convert your viewers into customers and all those various things. Well, I'm excited to announce my next challenge is coming up, the Content to Cash Challenge. We're gonna be breaking down everything you need to know to make sure that you crush content this year. No more uploading videos and crossing your fingers. That's not a strategy. And I'm gonna be giving you the mindset, the tool set, and the skill set needed to kill it this year, both on YouTube and on vertical platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and things like that. So I would encourage you to jump into the challenge. And if you get a VIP ticket, I'm gonna be doing live Q&A every single day of the challenge. So I'll get your personalized questions answered on these Zoom calls, and I'd love to see you there. Jump in. The link is in the description and in the show notes. Let's get back into the combo. But hey, I will say, if you try to coach entrepreneurs on trying to do business, but if you try to coach entrepreneurs on how to make videos, you can actually be a service.
Yes.
You're just helping them do something they don't know how to do.
Sure. Yeah, she like has a desire to start building something.
Yeah, that's good. That's a cool way to
building
put it.
Something on the side, even though she still is in a 9-to-5 world right now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, she like wanted to start with her phone. I'm like, that's great. Like, don't buy a camera and start with your phone. Also, there's another person I know, like a family friend in Texas, and she also wants to start. And she was like, Art, I need a like camera setup because I want to have a podcast look, and then I also want to do like reels. And I'm just like, okay, it's a loaded question because there's so much that I need to take into consideration when I recommend you gear. But she's also in her 2.0 season.
It's funny because when people say I want to do a podcast or I want a podcast look, it means a million. It can mean a million things. And dude, I'll even, one of my good friends, Kyle, his dad is an entrepreneur. I mean, he's maintained, or he's done well maintenance his entire life. I think he's a multiple 7-figure entrepreneur. He's incredible, building financial freedom for his kids and creating an inheritance for his children's children. And he watches YouTube.
Right.
And you know what he watches?
What?
He watches like GoPro footage of people just working.
Oh.
45 minutes of one angle.
No,
of somebody mowing a lawn.
That's
one
really
angle.
good, because dude, that stuff comes up on my stuff, and it's just interesting.
And they get a lot of views and it's a lot of watch time.
Yeah.
But I think about your dad, who does a lot of like tile work and like.
My dad's a marble mason, for context, and he's done a lot of stuff on the Vegas Strip. Yeah, dude. I mean,
but
dude, he had me tour a like $25 million mansion with him because he just wanted to show me his work.
Yeah.
And dude, it was insane. And he asked me to come like shoot content for him.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like, Dad, oh my gosh, if you just got over the fact that you hate being on camera.
But that's the thing, is he doesn't need to talk.
Right.
He can literally just film time lapse his entire day, or film, maybe there's a 2-hour job ahead of him, and he can just live stream, plug in a camera to battery so it doesn't die, but just live stream that, and then it lives forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then also just the work he's doing.
Yeah.
Would be interesting enough.
Right. And I think the thing that people don't really realize, so like I'm not saying your dad wants to do this.
Sure.
But your mom has said that she does.
Yes.
So by your mom saying she does, she's indicating she wants to help people.
Yes.
So she wants to, teach people how to do something. I would say your dad's approach, for somebody that knows what they're doing awesome work, and they have so much value to add, just think of it more like, I just want to document this. That's the only reason I want to do this, is so that I can look at this again later. That is another, I think, blissful place to create from. Is like, I'm just documenting this, but it's going to live on YouTube, or I'm just documenting this, it's going to live on an Instagram account. So that's all that to say. That's funny how you bring that up, and that's actually cool that your mom wants to do that.
Yeah.
She
hasn't started yet.
She has a content creator and in-house. She has an in-house content creator. But yeah, let's talk about more stories of these individuals that come to mind, and if anybody comes to mind on your end.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as we're talking, they're just like popping up.
And I'll say this: there's something that this entrepreneur, content creator, personal brand guy says. His name's Alex Hormozy. I just have to preface, not everybody knows who he is, dude.
Sure.
Some people know who I am, they don't know who he is, dude. I'm famous. Okay, so Alex Hormozy, he says his number one goal when he makes videos is he's just trying to make videos only he can make. That frame of mind it actually presents the opportunity for absolutely everyone to actually make content. What are videos that only you could make? So one video that comes to mind is a video that showed up on my feed. And I forget his name, but his video title on YouTube was literally 30 years of business broken down into 2.5 hours and 36 minutes or something like that. So this gentleman who's in his 2.0 era created a 2-hour and 30-minute video sharing his 30 years of experience in business. Dude, only he could make the video the way he made it.
Wasn't it straight through too? Like
it was very minimal editing.
Yeah.
I would say it was pretty. It had multiple angles.
Okay.
He probably had a team.
It was definitely dialed,
but it wasn't like overproduced.
Sure.
So if he didn't have an angle change, I don't think it would have taken away from the video. He was drawing on a whiteboard, I think, just to clear up his thoughts. But I thought I don't know. But I'll say this.
I could imagine.
It was. I think when I saw it, when it showed up on my feed, it was out for 2 days and it had 1 million views. Because, and I say I want to. Why did it have 1 million views? It had 1 million views because he created a video that only he could make, and he probably, because he's the only one that could make it, is the only person at the time of shooting this video or this podcast is one who can deliver that video on YouTube. Now, that might be the greatest 2.5 hour video on the internet. That tells me a few things. That tells me that if you feel like it's oversaturated, then that's not true, because you could still make the best version of something. And if you only make videos that only you can make, imagine your mom making a video titled like "What I Learned After 10 Years of Doing Side Hustle Makeup Jobs."
Oh my gosh. It'd be invaluable for the people she's trying to reach.
Yeah, it'd be invaluable for them.
Yeah.
And then it would also be a really cool way to really, think through like, what did I learn? What was that? What was it like? How much have I made? What was the hard lessons? What was the awesome thing? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, right? Like,
it's kind of, you know what it is? It's a content playground.
Yes.
For the people who've had that much experience and are just sitting on all that, work. So that dude had 1 million views in 2 days.
It's probably more now, but
so all these people are growing really fast. And you were mentioning that it's not the goal, but right now it's just happening.
Yeah, it happened. So yeah, that
for people who are tapping into that.
So the point of this is an opportunity because you can grow really quickly. That's not like the thing. Now, can that happen? Yes, because it's a huge opportunity. Whenever there's huge opportunity, whenever there's a gold mine, there's something, as a result for going for gold. If there's a, whatever, I'm trying to come up with a random illustration that's not working right now. But yeah, so can you grow quick? Yes. Is that the goal? No, because the whole point is to just experience that joy and fulfillment you get from making a video that would just make the world a little bit better just from your video,
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually wonder what it's at now.
Let's look at
that video.
Let me see. 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours and 26 minutes was his title. It was released now 10 days ago, and it has 1.6 million views.
That's wild.
And that'd be really cool to have a 2.5 hour video that gets that many views. Not too many 2 hour videos just on the internet, generally speaking, of like good, content. And I go back to by making videos that only you could make, it's a little easier to make. There's less pressure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like maybe, consolidating your thoughts and picking the 5 things or the 5 mistakes or the 3 things or the 3 mistakes.
I mean, that's also something that like we mentioned was that you don't have to try hard. Like it's just something that and is secondhand nature to you.
Yes.
And you can flow in.
Which is another point from the bliss thing. Mm-hmm. When you're creating from that pure place, there's an energy that people can feel. And that is, wow, this person genuinely wants to help me.
Right.
This is why when I go to conferences or when people catch me in public, the number one thing they say is thank you, which is crazy. But I had the opportunity to be able to leverage the need to not have to ask for much to give a lot. And so people feel like, dang, dude, he's not trying to sell me anything.
Right.
There's nothing to be sold here. Like you might even be a fan of this podcast and we'll never do a business transaction, but there's something about the richness of these conversations that you feel this pureness of generosity in the content. So yeah, I mean, and that's all anyone, you could sense that the extreme side of it is just the moment you start selling.
Would you say that's a reason why content like this is growing quickly? Because the world of content is saturated with people who are trying to sell you something.
It's very true. Yes.
So like it's now people want genuine content that is full of value.
Yeah. I mean, a true thought that comes to mind, here I am telling people to start creating content, but something that comes to mind is like, dang, dude, everybody's got a podcast. Like LeBron James just started a podcast.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. With JJ Redick, he's a retired basketball player. Their first episode got like 2 million views. It's like an hour and a half long. I'm like, dang, dude, everyone's starting a podcast. But I get excited for certain people who start podcasts because I'm like, yes, like I want your brain. I want your experiences. I want to learn what you've learned over years. Do
you have any examples?
I think, like as crazy as it sounds, like Rich Wilkerson Jr. He started a podcast, Mature Me, with Rich Wilkerson Jr., and he's inviting his friends on. I've listened to a few podcasts, and I think it's cool. I think it's cool that he's just in a conversational format sharing things that he's learned, and even like certain people that I'm interested in. Like another one would be that comes up is a lot of basketball players that in my time of growing up are like well past. They're actually 2.0. They're 40 plus years old, and they're starting podcasts like Shaquille O'Neal. His podcast is going crazy. He had an interview with Allen Iverson. Like, dude, Allen Iverson and Shaquille O'Neal,
right, talking
talking about the game of basketball and all the ups and downs, and then they actually ended up partnering, bringing back Reebok because they both were Reebok athletes. Yeah, I mean, I mean that's kind of who comes to mind when it comes to these like recent things that show up on my feed. You know, I saw like Cat Williams, you know, obviously blew up like crazy.
Yeah,
But that blew up because of the experience that he was sharing.
Sure.
It came from a crazy place, and there was no ask. He wasn't asking for anything. And I'm sure maybe he's going to figure out what this looks like. I don't know or maybe not. But as he gets invited to more, you know, podcasts to be on, like he was on Joe Rogan, but this is what I mean though. Like everybody I'm saying is, I think 40 and older. Yeah, you know, so I think there's so much value. I wanted to text my pastor, Jabin, and I wanted to tell him like, you should do 25 years of ministry experience broken down in an hour. Like that dude's been in ministry for 20 plus years, 25 years. What have you learned? Like, what did you learn? I mean, just imagine a 21-year-old wanting to get into ministry now has this video that this guy just chose to put out. Like, I mean, I just think about all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, that's awesome.
But we have some names that come to mind when it comes to these people who are older, and I want to share quickly their stories.
Sure.
And I think
the first one was Michael Zuber.
Michael Zuber, other known as Zuber, other known as One Rental at a Time.
Yeah.
Yes. So Michael Zuber, it's cool that I can consider him a friend. We text from time to time. And I'm considering somebody a friend that could literally be my dad. It's just creating content's crazy. You know?
By the way, there's an episode with O on the pod.
Yeah, with Michael Zuber. Mm-hmm. And what's cool about his story is he spent pretty much all his working life as like a W-2 employee. So he did have a commission kind of set up because he was in sales. But this dude, like for 20 years, 15, 20 years, just bought one rental. It's called One Rental at a Time is like his book, which he wrote after the fact of him making videos. But cool story. He retired early, retired at around 40, 45. And he said about 3 weeks into my retirement, when I'm you know, financially free, he lost his mind. He's like, bro, I can't just not do anything. So he turned on a camera and he started posting videos on YouTube, unedited. And I think he got so caught up in the flow and the lack of perfection, he didn't even know what perfect is. He still doesn't know what perfect is. No, you know, it's totally fine. Anytime I tell him to like change something, he's like, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll change it. I'm like, actually, what you're doing is working. Don't change it. But he just started like interviewing people that he knew that were successful on Zoom and just uploaded the Zoom file onto YouTube and just released it. I think he has over 13,000 videos on his YouTube channel, and he doesn't
13,000.
13,000. And what's crazy is every day he goes live. I would say, I think 6 or 5 days a week he goes live and shares 5 things. Like, what are 5 things happening in the world? And he's a wealth of information, but he's also resourcing other people's know-how and experiences to present it. And when I said it moments ago or minutes ago on the podcast, I said, you know, just start and then figure it out later. The dude just started making videos. He just started going live. And then he was like, I should write a book. So then he had his book transcribed, and you know, I think he self-published it, and now he has a book. And now when he releases that book, people are going to buy it because they've been waiting for him to make something. And he's been building like this, I would say, cult-like following that just love him, that love what he's doing and love what he's sharing, because it's actually so helpful. And again, also figuring it out, when he hit 50,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, he wanted to host a live event. And he didn't know what that would look like. He didn't know how much people would show up. I went to his live event. It was his 50K subscriber party in Vegas, and it was a two-day event where he had a ton of speakers come and speak.
Looked like a really cool venue.
Yeah, a cool venue. And I think there was like 400 people there.
Right.
That flew to Las Vegas to be with Michael Zuber. It's just so interesting. So like, he's just a very inspirational story. Like, he's making, I think, almost $250,000 in his retirement season as a content creator.
That's insane.
With the book sales, with that live event, the AdSense. So like Google, YouTube is now paying him to make videos. Who came in? It's all good.
Your mom.
Hi, Mom. Kamusta ka na?
She's waving and saying hi.
Hi, Mom. Okay. My mom just pulled up, and you could tell she did because she's Filipino, and you can just hear her slippers just drag on the floor.
That's funny. Stop.
How do you know you're not Filipino? That's messed up. Okay, so that's Michael Zuber.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The next two at least were. I'll start with one.
Wait, Mom, come here real quick. Come here really quickly.
She said no.
I want to ask you a question. Mom, come here. Quickly. Lika na dito.
What does that mean?
I think get out, come here quickly.
Yeah, okay. Just for the people.
I have a question to ask. Come here. No, it's fine. Okay, I just want to ask you a question. What do you think when with the word content creator, what comes to mind?
Content creator?
Yeah, what comes to mind when I say content creator, influencer, what comes to mind?
Well, your creativity, your originality,
Ooh.
and it's just you're spontaneous.
Okay. Who do you think of when I say content creator?
You,
Yeah? Okay, stop walking away. Why do you think that?
because you're spontaneous. You just don't. Like you don't have any paper to look at or guide. You just keep going.
Okay, so you would say someone who creates content is someone who just records themselves, just be.
Yeah, be
Uh,
yourself.
yeah,
be
be-
natural. Be authentic.
Yeah.
That's all.
Is there somebody you send me this Filipino girl who's younger who always translates Tagalog.
Yes.
Would you think of her as a content creator?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? She's literally making a living probably, or at least a side hustle, just teaching Tagalog to a younger,
Followers.
hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. Love you. I just wanted that insight. Because we're talking about people who are. I'm recording this.
Oh my God.
I know it's fine. We're in Puerto Vallarta, man.
I'm like burned.
Dude, we're all burnt. No, it's fine. All right, thank you. I think you were cut off anyway, so
Yeah.
it was like Charlie Brown.
Thank you, Lola.
Yeah, so that was actually interesting. Okay.
No, fine.
Okay, next person that comes to mind,
Myron Golden.
Myron Golden. So, okay, super cool story. If you don't know
Another
him.
episode on the department.
Yeah, I mean, the people that I actually am thinking of and that we're bringing up are people who've been on on my podcast. And as someone who is, I mean, I would say younger, hungry to learn, you probably know how I'm very curious as to how people have arrived to where they are and why they continue to keep going. But yes, Myron Golden, before he turned 60 years old, he's been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. And before he turned 60 years old, he said, I'm going to give the next 10 years of my life to make YouTube videos.
Crazy statement.
Again, without the real intention for anything. He even, told himself, if I don't grow, I don't care. This is something I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually good. What's the principle here? It's probably if you want to set out and try something, you should try something with a long time horizon, so you don't get discouraged at the results or the lack of results.
I mean, would you say that the less extreme example of that would be just give it a year, like a full dedicated year?
I would
Because
even say
much could
sometimes that's
happen.
really short, but yeah, a year of consistency. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that's fair. But most people can't even be consistent in that first year because you're still dabbling,
Right.
So. But yeah, I think if you give it a year, I would argue with the intention to get better every time, or share great content, you will grow. It just especially the people I'm talking about in this episode. So
Yeah.
He's 2.5 years in now, right? I think 2 years, and he has over 600,000 subscribers. And I wanted to break down even just how he creates. He creates with very minimal editing.
Right.
He actually is just essentially live streaming a live demonstration or a live what's the word?
Presentation. Because he has people in the room.
Yes.
As he's doing it.
So have people in the room, and that because he always wanted to he was doing that already. So it's just cool to know that you can literally just turn on a camera. Like if you're already doing something where you're sharing in front of people, even if it's virtually or you do a small group, by turning on a camera, now he's reaching millions of people now. So many people know who Myron Golden is, and I think the business world is better because of it. You know, I'm better because he started posting content. I'm just grateful. Like he has so much insight for entrepreneurs and business owners and creators from biblical principles, and his love for the Lord and his love for God's word and how he interprets it and then, communicates it for people like me is so refreshing and just awesome. But this dude's he's gonna soar past 1 million. You know, it's inevitable. And what he'll have is he'll have this asset of an audience that he could do whatever he wants with. And he doesn't just do whatever he wants with. Like he actually throws on a live event. He does these virtual challenges. And yes, he does have a great, I guess you could say, funnel to get people to work with him from that. But because of how much value he gives for free, it's kind of one of those saying they say.
Yeah, it's like an audience that he has that he can serve.
Yes.
At any time he wants.
And he actually, he likes to call his YouTube content and his content on Instagram, he calls it community service content. And
which is so good.
I think it's a great way to put it. If you can be a content creator and think from that place, like all the other stuff will come. Don't worry about it. You know, like I was approached by Dickies to potentially do a partnership, and I thought that was crazy. I wear Dickies. I wear Dickies to golf, and I wear Dickies day to day. But like that's crazy. But I've been instructed to like, bro, just hold out, just keep giving value. You'll be able to like land something really powerful. And if you just hold out. So just the opportunity to really have fun with it. We're literally here in Puerto Vallarta, and I just think about like the powerful nature of compound viewership. I think, in the last few days, like while we were out here, I'll just say this, in the last 7 days, I've had 3,300 watch hours. So 3,300 watch hours, what's 3,300 divided by, so that's hours. If I divide it by 24, that's 138 days. So I'm here. We've been here for just under a week. 138 days spent. That I don't know. Just like it kind of just baffles your mind.
Yeah, it's like hard to wrap your mind around that.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's another activity that literally would allow for that. And I just love looking at comments and people commenting while I'm here on vacation and getting value. It's just a cool. This is a cool activity, man.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, how did you discover Myron? Did he pop up on your YouTube?
Yeah, he popped up on YouTube.
Wow.
Started watching a few videos.
That's insane to think that, the start was a video.
Yeah, and now, I'm now in his, I joined his inner circle. It's honestly revolutionized my life. The relationships it's, opened up and all that. It's just absolutely insane. Had he not have chosen to turn on a camera, and he'd probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, I just had to pause this podcast because it got noticeably dark. And we didn't set it to auto. And the reason, number one, I'm in Puerto Vallarta. We're in Puerto Vallarta. I love it here. But the reason it did that was because the eclipse happened. Dude, while we shoot the podcast, the eclipse happened. Anyway, cut back to the episode, all right? But I hope you get a sense. Michael Zuber, Myron Golden, very low production value. Just because you can actually, you're not leveraging having to wow or what's the word, like stimulate. You don't have to stimulate the audience with so much editing and fast pace. You don't have to do that. You can literally just talk. Like we can all say that, like, with interviewing, like if we talk to like one of our elderly people in our families, having a coffee or a conversation with them would be super invaluable, and you just shut up and listen. I hope, but that's what you're able to like predict. You're able to create from this place of experience, knowledge, expertise, lessons, and
yeah. So the formats for Michael and Myron were low production or low effort, you would say.
Yeah, and I think Myron puts a lot of effort in his delivery to
Yeah,
make it
sure.
really, polished. He's just a phenomenal communicator. But again, it is an overflow.
Okay. I would say this next one is in her own way that I would say the same when it comes to effort
Sure.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so the next one is Chalene Johnson.
Chalene. Honestly, she's like one of my favorite people, human beings, and was my first podcast that actually went crazy. And here's what's so cool about Chalene. Her and her husband, Brett, are empty nesters. Both their kids happily married. Brock Johnson, a lot of people don't know that he's her son. Brock Johnson is probably the #1 Instagram educator on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so cool about Chalene is she has been in entertainment for a long time. She did fitness forever, and then she started teaching marketing. And she's an OG network marketer or digital marketer, I would say. And yes, her main piece of content is her podcast, and she's recently just like juiced it up. And when I say juiced it up, I mean she's recently really taken it next level with a great editor that she uses, a virtual editor. But her and her husband travel a lot now because they don't have to live anywhere and be locked down. And she just rolls around with a decent light. I don't know if it's a ring light, a fairly cheap camera, like a webcam, and a USB microphone. And she just delivers. She does say that she does take some time to prepare sometimes because she does want the value to be really high, but she really has nothing to sell. She sells something occasionally, but for the most part, she's really just helping people because she's taking care of the finance. Like, they're financially free. So she's able to create from that place of bliss. And it's so cool, like the effect that she's creating, because Amanda is a fan of Chalene's content because she shares a lot about health and weight loss and, being active. But she's creating a word of mouth effect where millennials are watching Chalene Johnson, and then millennials are telling their parents, hey, you need to watch Chalene Johnson.
Right.
And it's just like a cool effect that's taking place with her content. And again, if you go to all these, and maybe we'll link them up, that you guys can go check them. But still very low budget. I mean, Chalene has all the money in the world that she can really deck out something, but she needs to keep it simple. She needs to be able to push a button and record, and just killing it. I mean, just a great example of somebody who her life experiences too. Like, I would say, like, she's kind of going with both the flow of her life, but then also with the flow of what the audience wants. And so I've seen her for a season. She had, for a while, she was shedding light on malpractice, medical procedures. And a lot of people feel silenced, and like they feel like they can't speak up. And she spoke up, and she, exposed some guy. And it was really cool for a season, and people really found Chalene because of that. And then now recently she's really helping with like the weight loss, the fitness, and making it easy.
Yeah.
And I know that has come from a place of listening to the audience. What do they like most? And she's learning a lot, and she's sharing her obsessions. Like, she's obsessed with certain ways to lose weight and without having to go overboard, or finding out these new things. If something's trendy, does it really work? She's doing some research, and but all that to say, love what Chalene's doing, and she's a great example, right? Like, I mean, her Instagram is super fun. Just gotta, with caution. Sometimes she'd be posting her bikinis, and but she's trying to show that you could look this good at this age, and she walks a lot. And her and her husband, work out and all that stuff. But it's just super cool. I'm not trying to, I don't want to be them exactly, but they're such a great follow because they are sharing something that you can't get. It's literally invaluable lessons.
I think what's great about Chalene, though, and we can segue into kind of the formats of all this stuff that we, talk about when it comes to creating content. But not only does she deliver on all that stuff on her podcast, on YouTube, but she's great on the phone, like on her IG, just on stories,
right?
Just giving people advice, giving people free game on stuff that can help their lives. I think that's a great way she just delivers naturally. But yeah, to like segue into how people can do that,
Yes.
and some other formats that they can tap into that maybe would be easy for them or, you know, for their situation.
Yeah, I think one thing to really consider is to redefine what you think about when you think about content. You know, because our own experiences and our upbringings or how we consume it is how we define it oftentimes. So, you know, if you read books, you probably think about content being articles and books and newsletters and whatever, you know. But content is audio, it's copy or text, it's short form, it's long form, it's podcasting, it's talking head, it's vlogging, it's Facebook wall posts, it's tweets, it's threads. There's so many ways, right? And, you know, I think like in getting started, it definitely helps to start from a place of what do you feel like would be either the most easiest when it comes to all these mediums or these content formats, and also what platform do you like the most? Like, do you love Facebook? Just start writing on walls. Like, okay, so I love Facebook and I also love just journaling.
Right.
So you could literally journal and then post a photo of your journal and then maybe write out what you're saying or what you meant, or you literally, rather than journaling on an actual piece of paper, you just start typing it out and you post it on your wall. I just think it doesn't have to look like somebody, or even the people that I've shared right now. I said Myron Golden's like low production value, but like, no, he has high quality equipment.
Yeah, he has
to make
a
it seamless.
studio.
What I mean though is that he just shows up and delivers with an iPad or draws on a Vibe board or an electronic board. But there's this, older Asian couple that came up on my Instagram feed, and dude, their outfits, their date night outfits are insane. And they're just like, he's just hitting record on the camera, backing up, and then they're just posing. And it's so cool because they dress really cool. And then they put like some fun audio. They don't talk, but they're documenting their outfits. They're showing like a funness to like the latter days of life, being married. Like there's like a joy there, and it's just really cool.
And that's it, huh? It's like a 20-second video at most.
It's less than 20 seconds, and they built hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. Again, it's not about the followers, but the followers are saying something.
Right.
The followers are saying that this stuff works. They're saying that older people showing up on feeds, on email inboxes, on Facebook posts, not just resharing content, but actually creating it. I mean, it's amazing. One of my favorite follows on Instagram is literally, he's like a doctor, and all he posts are screenshots of tweets, and he just helps people with diets. Dude, I literally pull up Instagram and I forget I'm like literally disabled. I can't even.
You mentioned this to me a while ago.
2 million plus followers on Instagram. I know he has to be over 40. And that's it. It's just, it'll just be like a tweet photo. Don't drink coffee first thing in the morning. Have electrolytes, salt water. You'll feel so much better. And then drink just a cup of coffee. Like, just thousands of comments on a single photo, not even like a carousel. And so, yeah, if you're looking to get started, I think just start from a place of, what would take the least from you. That's why I love live streaming. I love just, sitting down and writing what's in your mind. One of I believe, a lot of my future is just going to be copy. I'm going to just sit down with an iPad in front of a beach view in Puerto Vallarta and just literally type out a conversation I had about something.
But also something that we should maybe look into is transcribing all your content.
Yes.
I think that would probably be so valuable to do.
Yeah. No, and I got hit with an ad with like an AI thing, and it not only transcribes it, but it bullet points it, puts emojis next to it. No, dude, it was sick. I'll tell you about it later. If I find it and before this edit comes out, we'll put it. But I just wanted to encourage those that were later in their life to consider creating content, do it to help people, do it to document. I want to interview my mom and dad for document purposes.
Yeah.
They're immigrants that moved to United States, and they moved their family from San Francisco to Las Vegas, and
I could imagine there's so many stories.
just so many stories, and that I don't even probably know, just like little details.
Yeah.
And it's not even a post. I mean, I would imagine though posting it would probably be very helpful. Maybe it's like, son talks with, immigrant parents about living the American dream.
Right.
Like that could be a really, maybe it's a department episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it
For
just
sure.
could show some insight on why I am the way I am, probably. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. If you're up at this point in the episode or the video or the audio, you're a real one. Number one, I appreciate you. This honestly is such a cool thing. I didn't know that the podcast would do so well so quickly, and that even just the people that will click on an episode as soon as it comes out, like, really is super special. I want to do something probably this year in person, and I didn't expect to do it, but I think it's something like the Department Live in Las Vegas, and
That would be tight.
going to be cooking on that. And maybe I invite these 2.0 people,
Yeah.
and do like panels and conversations and Q&A. I think it'd be pretty powerful.
Bet.
Yeah. What do you overall? What do you think?
Overall,
what's Art Mosqueda's Gen Z encouragement to the 2.0 era individual?
I would say my encouragement as a young man, going through life, trying to build whatever it is I want to build for myself, for my family in the future that I will have.
I laughed just because the setup. I didn't know where it was going. Like, as a young man who has negative in their bank account. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, bro, I'm chilling.
Yeah, you are chilling. You're doing really well.
It would be so beneficial and helpful for me if I had these 2.0 people just kind of going through their life experience, their genius or whatever, and posting content.
Yeah.
Instead of all this content that is not valuable and stupid and just
making us dumb.
Surface level.
Yeah, surface level. That's good.
Content that would benefit our lives in a good way. It's not just entertainment. It's not just stimulating content for me to go to bed to,
Yeah.
That's my encouragement, is that my generation needs your content.
It's really good. That's a good place to end. I'll just say, as I've not been on Instagram, I'm on Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts, and I don't know why, but I keep seeing videos on like fixing horses and cows' feet.
Their hooves.
They're like, it's like cutting a nail. But
it's like when they get infected and then the dudes have to like reset them.
Just millions of views though.
Yeah.
But I don't know, now my feed's all jacked up. But anyway, appreciate you for listening or watching. The Department, Omar Corey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Art.
Yeah.
And let's go have some tacos.
Bet.